What's up, guys? He almost sold 500,000 last December, and I met this kid years ago in Philadelphia. Such an inspiration to the community. He built $1 million Amazon business from nothing. He's built, I would call, $1 million personal brand. He is an inspiration to everyone. He creates so much content. Welcome to the podcast, Flips for Miles.
Appreciate you, King. Glad we
Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
I paid good money for that, so I had to throw that up there.
Hell yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, good to chop it up. I always like when we get on here and chop it. It was over 4 years since that first video. 4 years and 3 months since that first one we did in August.
Dude, and it's kind of trippy, like thinking back to those days. So I went on a book deal in Philadelphia, and actually I just interviewed Side Hustle. He was there too, and me and Caleb, we used to travel around the country, the book flipper, and we were in Philadelphia. Flips for Miles hits me up. I go eat Philly cheesesteaks with them, and I knew you were driven. And I'm like, this kid's probably got some potential, but dude, like you've blown my fucking mind over the years, like what you've done with not only your personal brand, but your Amazon business and everything. And it just goes to show like there's so much opportunity of posting on social media. And I remember in the early days you were posting, you were like just making videos here and there. And I'm like, this guy's really consistent. And I was like, this guy's not stopping posting. Like you were posting one video a day on IG, and it was just like you talking head, just talking about different things. And I really think that that's what's allowed you to build your business the way you have. And to kind of like give people some context, you're an online arbitrage seller. You know, you sell a lot of different types of products, but a big part of online arbitrage is networking with people, knowing what the good leads are. And what you've done a great job of over the years is creating like these micro groups of people that you know have potential. And so you're almost like an investor in some sense, where you look at the people and you're like, these 4 people or these 10 people are probably good and they can network together. You put them in a fucking group and just let the magic happen. And I think you have some like next level techniques. I don't know if that came natural to you or if you learned it from somebody else, but I think that that's what makes you special in this space.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things with that. So I've been like making friends on the internet since like 2011, right? Like very consistently, like every day I've talked to random people on the internet since 2011, because I was always chopping up with people on Lego forums back in the day, right? And what we would do the whole year, we would hang out at this convention once a year in Washington, D.C. So I'm super used to like that kind of stuff. And most younger people are with the way video games and stuff works these days and such. But I've always really, really embraced that. And then on the type of like the posting and the just existing on the internet stuff, you just get so many opportunities you wouldn't otherwise normally get. And your surface area of luck is so much higher, right? In that, like, if you're not actively attracting people to yourself on the internet, talking about what you're doing, your surface area of luck is pretty much the 100, 200, 300 people you know in your local area or whatever else through other social circles. And there's a very small chance that you'll get lucky. Meanwhile, your surface area of luck, literally like a billion X's, right? Because everyone's on the internet, everyone's online, right? And it's also a lot more advantageous because you can meet the people that you really like, meet the people that think like you. There's a astronomically higher chance you'll find people you really, really get along with on the internet compared to just in person in your local area.
For sure. Like I look at my friends now, and like I was hanging out with Taylor, a few months ago, and I'm just like, dude, it's like no accident that we're friends. Like you're a wrestler and you sell on Amazon, and I'm a wrestler, I sell on Amazon, and we both love traveling the world. And it's like, I don't know anyone in Nashville that has those 3 things. And like me and him, the only reason why we clicked is because he was coming up on my TikTok. And then I was like, who the fuck is this asshole that wrestles, sells on Amazon, and like travels? And I'm like, I could be the only one that does this. Now we're like best friends, but it's literally just because like he put himself out there. He was like the antenna, and then I saw it, and then now we're friends. And it goes the same with like all my other friends in this space. Like I wrote an email last night. Miami Sellers Conference tickets were going up in price. And as I was writing it, I was like, my network is so important to me. And like, it's what's made my business what it is. And like all my friends are millionaires now or on their way to be millionaires. And as I wrote that sentence, it felt fake. Like it didn't feel real. And I'm like, holy fuck, like this is actually real right now. And it's like the only reason why this is possible is because of the internet and be able to, connect with like-minded people. And I think it's really special. So
it's unbelievably special, man. We're so lucky to have this, and I just can't imagine not going and just putting everything I have into it the next couple of years. Because obviously I do think these opportunities will continue, but the nice thing is that the quicker you really get going and really, start going hard, the quicker the compounding picks up as well. So it really, like, special is a really good way to describe it, I would say. And you don't really see it to get into it. Another really important thing with like that, or just online business in general, is you get to be yourself around your online business friends, right? Yeah. And a lot of adults never get to be themselves, like ever, right? And that's why I love seeing like some of these guys that they've gotten beaten down by the corporate world, 5, 10, 20 years, etc., right? But then they're laughing a ton doing this stuff, and it's ironic because Amazon can be work, right? Or is work for a lot of people, right? A lot of people want it to be their full-time thing, but it can also be a wildly fun thing. Well, like how fun getting on Zoom with your friends for online arbitrage is. And that's all on the other end of not being afraid of what people think existing on the internet, of you existing on the internet.
Yeah. So for you, what feels like work for you in what you do every day? Like, what is a grind for you, and what doesn't feel like a grind for Miles?
Yeah. So prepping stuff obviously sucks. I mean, naturally, fulfilling FBM orders, like a year ago, December, I did like 8,000 FBM orders in 1 month, and probably 7,000 of those I did by myself. But at the same time, like, I think for what I know I can get out of this from a selfish financial perspective, nothing really feels like work in the grand scheme of things. Like, obviously it sucks to like sit on calls and stuff occasionally and everything, but like, I know what I can get out of it. So I'm fully bought into doing it. So even saying that it feels like work subconsciously reinforces that I don't want to do it. And I know I do want to do it. So I'm just going to do it basically. But yeah, like when you're not good at something, it's hard to do, right? But the key is you can rapidly get a lot better at it, right? So like online arbitrage sourcing is easy now. It was hard back in the day, but it was always fun because I always did it with Garrett. I always did it with Jake, Danny, etc. Right? Yeah. So that made it fun because I was doing it with people I liked, and because I really liked them, it made it easy to do it when it was hard. So it became easy over time. I did it enough to get good at it. Right? Now, most people don't do it enough to get good at it because at the end of the day, it's a fact that it works. Right? If people can make that rent, everyone knows it works. People buy stuff on Amazon. You just have to get good at locating the products, and you have to find ways to make it like fun, make it like a game, because then you'll do it long enough to get good at it. And my favorite version of that is definitely meeting other people, masterminding, etc.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I suck at dancing naturally, but I've gotten really good just because I have an obsession with it. And so I'm really naturally good at grappling and wrestling, and I also love that. So like that's something I can be really fucking good at. But even if you're like not super good at something, if you just have a proclivity to do it all the fucking time, you're going to get good at it.
Well, and why would you be good though when you're new to something? You know what I mean? Very few things worth doing you're going to be good at immediately.
Yeah, that's very true. And so, so much of your sourcing, it sounds like in the early days started with like Zoom calls and stuff. Can you kind of walk us through, like, maybe somebody's listening to this and they're like, I want to do that too. How could they facilitate that without being a weirdo? And be like, hey, do you want to Zoom? To like
exactly. So the cool thing, right, is, so I'll tell the exact story. So it's February 2021. I finished college like 6-8 weeks prior, right? I was trying to make the online money dream work. And it already, like, looking back, I could have lived off it. I'd been making like 3 to 5K a month for like 2 years profit. So like, that's fine if you're 22, whatever. But no, I wanted to obviously make more because I was like big, following people like crazy, learning a lot. So I knew I could do a lot more, right? And we had the Unemployment Club group chat, which is actually still going to this day to my knowledge, right? I'm not in it anymore, but I think it's still going. So I was watching a Gary Vee video, and I had just gotten ungated in Nike and Adidas, right? It's like the big thing. It had just become a thing, right? And it's Gary Vee. He was like, how could you not be commenting, replying to every comment? I was like, oh shit, you're right, man. So not only did I comment, but I messaged everyone that commented on the post I made that day and introduced myself. And one of those people is Garrett. And I'm pretty sure we ended up getting on Zoom that night. And then it's been 1,000 days since then. We've probably FaceTime 950 of them, right? So we literally got on Zoom that night, and he put me on a ton of free game immediately. But the key here is that he already knew what to expect with me. He had already seen my stuff. So we already had a little bit of a parasocial relationship. And then I checked his page that day. I was like, oh, damn. He's like, getting a pallet picked up. There's the big semi truck. It's like, this dude clearly cares, right? So there was mutual understanding that we both knew each other were hardworking, and he was in Southeast PA. There's a little camaraderie there and such. So that was kind of from there. We would just like meet new people. Like I asked, Danny came that week. Jake and I had been talking a lot, right? And then we met Warner like 2 months later, and you just end up doing more and more. And by far the best way to do that type of stuff is to build your own reputation online, right? Which is posting stuff, and then getting into the community as well, like interacting with people, right? Being in their replies, tossing likes, tossing retweets, right? Tossing tips, right? And the nice thing is, specifically with Amazon, if you've sold one product, you're further along than probably 95% of the people that are in the space, right? Because most people are lurking, they haven't started yet, they're considering starting, right? So the cool part is, so there's that. And then people are like starving for authenticity these days, starving for it, right? So what you did really well when you were new, what I did really well when I was new, what Billy did a really good job of, what our friend Aaron's done a really good job is documenting from the ground up and saying, I know nothing. And when you say I know nothing, people flock to you to help you for free. And it's crazy, but you got to be okay with your high school friends maybe seeing it. And people are so afraid of embarrassment that no one does it. So that's why all the results comes to the people that do.
Yeah, on the flip side, though, like, this is kind of random, but yesterday I was eating lunch, and one of my high school friends sat down, like, next to me. I didn't know he was there. He just sat down in front of me. I'm like, I'm fucking staring at him. I forgot his name for a second. I'm like, oh, shit, that's Zach. And we were just talking, and, dude, honestly, it was so refreshing that he didn't know that I was an Amazon seller, because, like, I think you make a good point. People are afraid of their high school friends seeing them, but you will actually become a hero to all your high school friends, and all, like, everyone who follows you on Instagram now. They'll make fun of you when you first start posting, but when they see you actually making money, you're going to be a fucking hero. And so I run into high school friends all the time here in Nashville, and they look at me like, oh my gosh, dude, you won the game. Like you're doing it. Like, you're providing for yourself. You're an entrepreneur. Like, so many people will look up to you. So that's like the other side of the coin. It's like, it's ironic that you're scared of looking bad in front of your high school friends, when in reality, you're going to be the hero for them, because you're putting your neck out there. You're making yourself vulnerable. And the truth is, you could fall flat on your fucking face and lose. And you could document it. Like, this summer, my Amazon account got shut down. I fucking documented that whole thing, because I'm like, I'm so confident that I'm going to make it out of this situation and be okay in the end. And so when you document the good and the bad and put yourself out there, you know, if you don't stop, you're going to be successful, and everyone's going to fucking see it. And that is like the most motivating thing you can do for people. So you're actually helping your high school friends.
Oh, well, 100%. Right. And the problem is, when you're new, you don't believe in yourself. But why would you believe in yourself? Right. You have no reason to believe yourself. So you gotta outwork yourself down. That's a really good quote.
Yeah. And then 0.01% of your high school friends or people you come across in the street will actually look at you, and they'll learn from you if you're posting content like me and Miles are. And I have a few people that are actually successful now that followed me, you know, from jiu-jitsu or from high school, that are selling on Amazon now. So you can also help people too.
Yeah, like Danny, Wi-Fi Ash and I went to high school together. And then this other guy, Dan, who he's not as active online. He should be at Miami Stars Conference this year. Him and I went to college together and didn't know each other. And then yesterday he did 20K in sales.
Fuck yeah. That's amazing. So I was listening to you and Danny's podcast the other day, and you were kind of talking about, there's a few interesting dynamics I want to harp on. Number one, I didn't know that your mom wanted you to be a physical therapist.
Yeah, well, you were doing that shit too. Yeah, I was more so.
My mom wanted me to be a physical therapist too, and I was going to be a physical therapist. That was my goal. So I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just chemistry shit was hard, like in college. That's for sure.
Organic chemistry was a bitch.
Yeah.
My grandpa was a professor of organic chemistry, so like that was like the one class my dad really wanted me to do well in. Organic, and I think that was actually my worst class, organic chemistry. And you said you thought you might end up being a teacher, which you kind of are, actually, ironically.
Ironically, dude, super ironically, yeah, because I grew up on the campus of my high school, right? So it's like that was kind of all I knew, honestly, for a while. And I was like, I don't know, that wouldn't be that bad a life. Like, thinking back now, I definitely like wouldn't just go and do that, right? It's not enough money, but like, yeah, in terms like, there's a lot of stuff I would do if money didn't matter, honestly. Like, I would still do a lot of the stuff I do now, but I don't know. I'd hopefully get that figured out the next couple of years and then go pursue whatever.
And you said a lot of your classmates were like really well off.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, right? Boarding school, it's like half the people are super, super well off and half the people are like on financial aid and such, right? Because that's like kind of the way the economy works with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously nothing wrong with either of those. But yeah, it's like super, super spectrum. And the same thing going to a very expensive college, it was the same way.
Mm-hmm. And so how do these kids have money? Like what was like the common?
Well, a lot of people are international, so it's just like, parents are doing cool stuff or whatever. I don't know. Like a lot of students at my high school were Chinese. So like a lot of them are super, super well. And the key is at the end of the year, this is like my favorite thing in the whole world to talk about. A lot of kids would just leave stuff and it was a free for all. They were called the donation bid. So I would get a ton of free product there to sell back in the day. That was like so huge, the $0 cost of goods. Back in the day, you were literally like, it was completely a free for all. Like teachers were getting stuff. Like it's some of my fondest memories are doing that shit.
Yeah. That's how I started, man. Dumpster diving in college, buying kids books.
Yeah, you learn so much doing that. Like you learn the most probably. Like Billy and I joke around about this, but like if a young man posts like himself in a thrift store, even if it's just once, like I'll give him the entire world. Like I will tell him anything, right? Just having the humility and like the drive to go do that, like I will give him everything, legitimately.
Yeah. Some people just can't do that. I don't know, like. Well,
they can do it. They can
do it, but some people, it's like I never really looked at it as like embarrassing, really. But I guess like.
And yeah, if you're already lost though, if you're worried about what other people think, because that's why
I came in like so I'm like the opposite. A lot of people, like I look at it as like so cool to be broke living in my car. Like I looked at that as like, oh, that's like the adventures of a young man. Like this is what is cool. And like a lot of people look at, oh, I need the Lamborghini and I need, $1 million business in order for me just to post on Instagram. And so there's different levels to it for sure.
Yeah, when ironically, if you build from the ground up, you meet the people that'll get you there 10 times quicker.
Yeah. And I definitely did not expect that starting out. Like I had no intention of meeting Caleb and everyone.
Oh my God. Like I have all these notes from 2020 of like these projections of like what I wanted to have invested in shit like 10 or 20 years from now. And like all of them are done already. like it's amazing.
Dope. What's a 2000 book challenge?
Ooh, okay, here we go. Yeah, so I think it was either you or like Reezy was posting about like trying to find 1,000 books, and I was like, all right, like I'll try to do 2,000. That was like cool. Challenges and stuff like that are great because it gives you something to talk about always. Because even if you're working towards the challenge, if you're not getting part of it done, you can still document why, right? So yeah, that was August 2019's mission, was trying to find 2,000 books. I can't remember.
You probably took my fucking goal because earlier that year my goal was 1,000 a month. And dude, you know what is so crazy? Me finding that this is so crazy, like after watching like you pop off and like everyone in Jameson and like all these people doing RA and shit, dude, I thought 1,000 books a month was so much money. I'm like, I'm gonna have to spend between $2,000 and $3,000 on this, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can hit 1,000. And dude, now it's like Jameson's buying like 5,000 in Lego in a day, and like now I'm buying a ton of shit too. But like, it just blew my mind, that you could spend that much on inventory. In what was the time frame on the 2,000 book challenge? You said
the month. So it was August 2019. Yeah. Yep. And then so that was like when I was like doing books heavy. And then I like did a bunch of consignment books that year too. And then COVID hit obviously, so I couldn't get any more. So I laid low for like a year, tried to do a whole bunch of different stuff. And then like OA immediately, like literally it was like the first week I knew that was going to be like, I knew that was it. Like I instantly knew it right when stuff started flying.
Yeah.
I just immediately knew that like that was the wave. And like legit, like I know it was like serious divine intervention, how like the Ungate hit, I meet my boys, like they're still my boys, like instantly, like it all meshed together. And God was like, bro, take this torch and run with that shit. And then I really think like back to school that year was huge too, because that was when I started like hitting like 10K days and such, right? You started making like $1,000 profit a day for 2 weeks. Yep. And 6 months prior, you had never made 10K profit a month, and you just squeeze that momentum. And I'd say like that's like the real turning point. I'm just trying to keep that momentum going.
How much do you think you sold in textbooks when you were in college?
35 grand probably.
Nice.
Get around there. Yeah, because you're making money on that. It's like 10K profit. You know,
way more than I did. I made like 1,000 profit. I thought I was the shit.
But I had you. I had Reezy. You know what I mean? You didn't have you.
I was like listening to Caleb though at the time. That was like my senior year when I came across them. Do you ever come across restricted textbooks?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome.
We only take a $20 cut now.
I saw that, dude. I saw Joji's video on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys send restricted inventory, restrictedinventory.com, you send $100 profit book. We pay you 80. We only keep 20. So I expect that business next year, a ton of people to take advantage of it. So it's gonna be crazy. Like that's, in my opinion, that's an offer that makes people feel stupid for saying no to.
Yeah, well, I remember when you and Steve hung out for the first time. There's that one video that went like Amazon viral, like got like 70,000 views.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and then I also remember I was at the pool with my dad, and we were watching some of your Gaylord videos from the back.
Yeah, dude, those videos still get pretty good views.
Yeah, well, it's entertaining as hell, like too, and it is also like super interesting because that's like very, very like unique. There's also a massive space for someone to make vlogs doing online arbitrage too. Vlogs like merchant fulfilling, creating shipments.
Yeah, I was thinking that, dude. Just Amazon content in general, like even wholesale. I mean, you got watching me Amazon and Amazon Lit, but dude, like somebody like in their warehouse all day, like
yeah.
I mean, you would kind of need someone that doesn't really care about showing their products or maybe just blur the products, but like giving like a more in-depth view of what it looks like inside a warehouse because everyone's so hush hush about it.
Yeah.
Like there's almost like a barrier, but it's understandable why it's there.
Yeah, and I think you could. I don't know. Looking back, I had literally never even thought about this today. But yeah, I should have been like making vlogs like crazy at the warehouse I had last year and 2 years ago. We just have to obviously not show SKUs, but like if you're doing shoes, it's just shoe boxes. You know what I mean? If you're doing pallets of stuff, you can just show the pallets saran wrapped and such. So there's a big opportunity for that.
Yeah. One thing that you've helped me with, Miles, is like when I met you, I saw like some of your personality traits and like what your drive was. And now back then I didn't know it because I was so young. I didn't know what I was looking at, but now I meet people like you and I'm like, oh, this person's going to be successful because they have these traits. And I know you've probably seen more than I have because you post on social media and you're more engaged with the community than I am. What personality traits do you see in not necessarily young people, but people starting out on Amazon? They could be 40 plus, but beginners starting on Amazon that you just know when you talk to them that they're going to be successful?
Not trusting themselves to make decisions, not needing to ask every small question is huge. And then understanding I don't need to ask every small question. I can go look for information too, right, is big. And then also the long-term thinking of like finding the homies online is huge too. And that like if you have the self-esteem to post a video yourself online, like you're literally instantly ahead of like 99% of the Amazon.
You don't have to feel good about the video. You don't have to be
happy. No, you're not going to feel good.
Make the video.
Yeah, you know? Exactly, right? Or just continue getting lapped by the people that do. It's your choice, right? It's all like a mentality thing at the end of the day because like this works, period. And if you think it's going to work, you're going to work harder. And if you work hard, you'll get there faster. You'll pick up the compounding process a lot quicker. So yeah, like time between action, right? Not needing to ask every little thing. And then the long-term thinking of like understanding the process, finding like-minded people online, etc.
Mm-hmm. So let's kind of break down the fourth wall a little bit here. So you've given your tips on, you know, how to start posting content, you know, post the boxes, post your experience. Now that you're at the level you're at now, what advice would you have for somebody who's doing decent on social media? They have an Amazon business, maybe doing 100K a month, but they want to take their content game to the next level. Because I truly believe that you're actually probably one of the best in the content in the Amazon space. And I think you have like the most students with results. Like if we're being objective, like there's a lot of YouTubers maybe that get more views than you, but in terms of like people actually getting results, I think that, and maybe it's biased because I know you and like we're in the same community and then Miami Sellers Conference, a lot of people become because of you. But I truly think that you're actually getting people more success than a lot of other people are. And I think a lot of it comes down to your consistency posting on social media. You're doing the lives to engage with your audience. And so you have enough touch points to where they feel like they know you and they feel like you care. And so they actually put the effort required to get the results that they need. So let's kind of break down the fourth wall and talk about, you know, what type of content strategy should someone have if their end goal is to help people escape the matrix and truly get success selling on Amazon.
Yeah. So the cool part is that like you can already see what all of it looks like too, right? And that there's people like, especially I look at a lot of drop shipping YouTubers to learn stuff, drop shipping, other types like tutorials and stuff. So yeah, it's that. And then responding to feedback with different stuff and like is big, right? Looking at what's working for other people. Like I'll go through like, you know, the top 20 Amazon YouTube channels, the top 10 Shopify channels, and pick out like different ideas and stuff, right? Like, and not necessarily like thumbnails, more like ideas and stuff too. And then also like, dude, it's crazy the amount of Q4 results people are going to be getting, like whether or not like they're paid of mine or whatever, like legit, like there were over 15 guys did 10K in the past week in one day that started less than like 10 months ago, like of mine.
That's wild,
yeah. And we're early too, right? I'm so much better at explaining stuff now too. So like I didn't know anything about how to explain how to do Q4 correctly last year. Now I know exactly how to do it, right? And it's people still printed last year, but like this year's going to be way better too. But yeah, it's just honestly at the end of the day, like looking out what works for other people, putting your own spin on it, and then replying to feedback, right, is big. And then the caring's huge too. Like I care so much about making sure everyone's taken care of and such because people cared for me. You responded to me back in the day. You know, a lot of people responded to my stuff back in the day. So it's paying it forward and then selfishly knowing that the current vehicles can get me financially what I want to.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, what you're doing is like you post a lot of short form, you do a lot of tweets, and then you post you recycle the written tweets on Instagram and YouTube as posts, and you get kind of people in the ecosystem with very beginner-like content, and then you do lives. Well, now you're doing lives like every fucking day, but you're doing lives
every day.
To where if somebody found out about you yesterday or even today, they could show up at your live tonight and then be like, oh my gosh, Miles replied to me. And it's almost like you're giving them like a small percentage of belief in themselves because you're like, oh yeah, you can do this. Like Michael, just go, source some more websites. You're on the right path. And then they're like, holy shit. Like it's almost like a human interaction. And then that makes them actually try and actually do the work required. And I think, if you only post content and you don't engage with your audience at all, I don't think they really feel that level of connection. So that's kind of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, like I want as many individual conversations as possible. I want to meet as many people as possible. That's why like stuff like MSC is so dope too, because you get to meet people in person. ASD as well.
Yeah. Right? It's like that's like the pinnacle of breaking limiting beliefs is like when you meet somebody that looks just like you, same age, and they're doing way more than you. Then it's like and they're stupider than you too.
That's the big thing. That is the big thing for a lot of people. Because like all these people have all these degrees and shit and no money, right? Yeah. And then you got teenagers popping off left and right. Boom, 0, 10K a month, their first December, right? Or their second Q4, et cetera, right? And that's like just crushing those limiting beliefs of what's possible. And like, that's the cool thing too, is like, there's no rules and there's no permission, right? People are so used to asking to have to go to the bathroom and shit. If you want to fulfill that product, list that product, ship the order and do it again, and then do it again. And then you can do 100 times a day. Then you do 200 times a day. Everything is sitting there waiting for you to take it. And people need to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell myself this every single day, that everything I want is sitting right there waiting to be taken every single day. Right. And I know it is, but I got to fucking brainwash myself that it is too.
How much of your time are you spending posting content every day?
Like posting or like writing and filming?
I guess kind of both. Like because Warner, I talked to him. He thinks that like everything gets geotagged in the Philippines. If you post on like Instagram, if you have your VA post, are you posting all your IG content, or you haven't?
Yeah. So I post everything manually. And then there's a couple of schedulers I use. Like I use a scheduler for Twitter, two different ones. But other than that, yeah, everything manual. It doesn't take time though. Like, and the way I see it is like, I feel like I have a decent monetization vehicle. So like everything's so worth it to do in a way that it isn't worth it for other people to do. But when I wasn't making any money from it, I still did it, which gave me the ability to do it. It's like kind of a reframe there.
Mm-hmm. What do you have to say to people who look at you and they're like, I want to run an Amazon business, but I also want to teach people how to sell on Amazon and make money, getting them results? Like what advice would you have for a younger Miles that wants to make money educating?
Yeah, just wait till they ask. First of all, give them a reason to ask, but then also wait till they ask.
Alex Ramosi, give until they ask.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, that's like pretty much what we've all done. But like I had the page for like over 3 years before I had a course at all, Like, and it's like having that, I feel like track record of like going through the time and, giving a lot gave me the ability to then ask, right? In a way that a lot of people get roasted if they ask early, and people can do whatever they want. I could care less, right? I know what I need to do, right? But yeah, it's just waiting till they ask, honestly, is the big thing right there. Because if your people are asking you to get stuff from you, then you're in like, you're doing the right thing, right? And then you just slowly but surely give more to the market, and good things happen if you're doing the right thing. And if people are asking, you're doing it right too.
Yeah, 100%. you want to have kids?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
How many kids?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that, but it's not going to be a while. It won't be for a while.
What time frame? You thinking 30 years old?
No, it's a monetary number. This is the timeline. So I don't know. Probably like 5 or 10 years.
Oh, you're about to piss Reezy off with this one. So Taylor made a post about how he's like, I want to be a millionaire so I can have fucking kids. And Reezy like raged on him, and he's like, I had kids when I was 18, broke as shit. But you're on the same wavelength as Taylor, where you want the bag first.
It's security, yeah. So I can and obviously that's purely my own personal opinion or my own personal choice for me, right? So yeah, pretty much, honestly, just because like I want to be able to put sufficient time into that and put sufficient time into this, so it's different seasons of life, I would say.
Yep. What's your day-to-day look like? What are you doing, and how many hours you work in?
Yeah. So basically I wake up at 7 every day. And then I'll work till 10, and then I'll go work out, go for a walk.
What's that 3-hour block of work?
Oh yeah, so it's typically a combination of answering student questions, writing tweets, filming videos, filming shorts, general community management, right? Just like making sure everything's the way it needs to be. And then typically I have a couple one-on-one like consulting calls each day, right? So typically those would be. Sorry,
7-10 or
no. That's from 11 to 1 typically Eastern, right? Yeah. And then afternoons are typically fairly open. I've gotten really, really good at working out in the morning, so I work out every day. But
what's the lift look like?
Yeah, so I do pull-ups every day, and then I do YouTube workouts, like typically like two sets, like 15 minutes. Like typically it's either like chest, push-ups, abs.
Have you seen Sam Solik?
Oh, that guy is killing it, right? With the most basic stuff, but he's killing
he is fucking crushing it with his content. He is such an inspiration.
He needs his own supplement brand, though. He can't be promoting these other ones.
You say he's got his own.
No, he shouldn't. I don't know if he has one, but he should have one.
I wonder how much money he's making on YouTube, man. But that kid is a freak, and he just turns the camera on. He gets in his fucking little car, his little sedan. He drives to the gym, goes to Planet Fitness, puts the full stack on, fucking gets after it. Like,
yeah, that guy's awesome. And then afternoons are typically pretty open. And then at 5 I'll stream typically, and then play basketball maybe a couple times a week. And then typically I have some combination of coaching calls, group calls, or one-on-one calls from 7 to 9 each night too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how much of your time and effort is put into running your Amazon business now?
Yeah, well, a lot less than it was, right? Because like a lot these days, like some of the main ASINs I carry, like I have a couple thousand of certain ASINs that I've been selling for 2.5 years, right? So like that can knock out a decent amount of a good month right there too, right? But it was a ton last year because I did a ton of prep myself. I never really took the time to get like full-time employees and stuff in the warehouse. So like I did a ton of it myself. So a lot less now because I'm in Miami as well. But like the nice thing is Garrett and I talk about this, like we kind of don't need to kind of put as much time into it. One, because your skill level gets a lot better too.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
Like you just move up an opportunity vehicles.
It's capital allocation. It's like once you spend the money, you have your set spend for the month. Once you hit that, as long as all your other systems are in place, there's not much you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Right. In the way like prep centers and stuff work. And then just in general, like people have no idea that I have like Seller Amp 2 and stuff like that takes time. Like people have no idea the other stuff, that's going on as well. So like that obviously takes time too. Because at the end of the day, like I don't just want to be an Amazon. So like the ultimate goal is to obviously be an entrepreneur and build wealth. So like whatever the best current ways to do that is, I'm going to squeeze the life out of them.
Yeah, I think you've done a phenomenal job of that. Like I said, you've built a 7-figure Amazon business, a 7-figure personal brand, and arguably like you've helped build a 7-figure SaaS. Like all in a short couple of years.
Yeah. Well, hey, I like, it's crazy what you can get done. Like I know how I can do a lot more than that too. Like I love what we got going, and I'm going to keep squeezing the life out of it right here. And if I don't get it, I'm the only one that caused that. So
what kind of stuff are you doing for Seller Amp? I mean, obviously you're making content.
Yeah, it's mainly content. Yeah. Like predominantly, and content brainstorming and such. Yeah.
Whose idea was the buy box pie thing?
Oh, you saw that? Yeah. So that was a cool update. So
that's dope. But I will say that's going to expose so many people's storefronts.
Well, either way, you can see it in Keep It too, though. It just looks better in Seller Amp as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We had like, there's a couple like cool things like that.
Does Warner or do you or Warner help like contribute to the ideas of Seller Amp?
Yeah. So we'll like, there's a lot of cool stuff. Like today, storefront stock counts released,
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. So like now when you storefront stock someone, you can see the stock count that they have.
Dope.
Cool. Yeah.
That's really dope. Yeah, that's pretty next level. Dude, I have a feeling like this shit's about to get crazy. Like, does Al, the developer for SellerAmp, does he want to do, and owner, does he want to do anything in terms of like AI? Has he ever talked about that?
Dude, I don't know about that, but like it would be nice having the buzzword too, but I have no idea. I don't know how it would fit in, but like if there's an opportunity.
Dude, I have so many ideas already. Like, so with GoToLister, we just released inventory. So you can manage all your inventory within GoToLister now. That'll be active like this week. So you can view all your inventory, what the quantity is, update min-max prices. But what I wanted to do, we'll have this in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have restock reports, which is like the first thing that is really going to be nice for OA sellers. So we'll tell you what items you need to restock. It'll actually be better for wholesalers, but it'll tell you like this ASIN you don't have a 30-day supply of. You only have 100 in stock. You're probably going to sell 200. Therefore, you should buy 100 more. But I think what would be really cool is if you had like your top selling ASINs, your top 10 ASINs, right? You take those. Each of these ASINs made you $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, whatever. What it does is it does the thinking for you. And it says, based on these ASINs that you've sold, it could like, use data like storefront stocking. Like you said, it's looking at SellerAmp's, other sellers' stock count and ASINs. Perhaps you should try selling these 3 or 4 ASINs too.
Oh, yeah, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, because it could pull the commonalities of the other sellers.
Yeah, and like if it's tracking stock count, it would know, like, dude, you could do a lot of cool stuff. Like this person probably made 35,000 sales on this product last month, and if they bought from the same source you did, they probably netted like 10K or something like that. And so like having like, you should probably buy based on what you're currently selling, whether you're doing wholesale or OA. It could like storefront stock for you, all the sellers on all the ASINs, all the top 10 ASINs you're selling. And then it could tell you, hey, have you considered these other 20 ASINs? And maybe they are available on the website. Maybe they're available on Kohl's. Maybe they're available at your wholesaler and you just didn't know about it, And so kind of like connecting the dots of what's sold, how much it's sold for, and then connecting it to ultimately like your sourcing tool,
Boom. It makes a lot of sense. So I got a question for you. So I think this would be pretty helpful for people. So you've always been doing this a decent amount of time now. I've been doing a little bit less than you, right? But selling on Amazon, right? Why does it work for some people and why does it not work for other people? Why does everyone who's been around for a couple of years, why does it work for them, right? Why do so many people quit so early, right? I have so many strong opinions about this.
So the question is, why does it work for some people and why doesn't it work for others?
Exactly.
And first of all, I would add a caveat to that. I think you've actually sold on Amazon longer than me, because I think you've worked more than me over the last few years. Like, because once restricted inventory took off, I kind of traveled and I was dancing 4 hours a day. Like I was full on just taking dance classes and shit. And so I think my Amazon life, like I look at like Jake, Carter, and like these young kids, TDH, like Tim, and I'm like, you guys have just as much business experience as me, if not more, because you guys started when you're fucking like 12,
Yeah, and you got to compensate. Like anyone starting, if you're like, obviously don't worry about the age, but like, yeah, you got to compensate with extraordinary volume because you're competing against psychos like me and Avery that will go to the end of the earth for that.
And I've been working a lot more. Like, dude, that Amazon account shut down, that put my ass in gear. I'm like, okay, now it's time to fucking work. And sometimes
like the less you sweat during peace, or the more you sweat during peace, the less you bleed during war. I tell myself that every day.
Yeah. Sometimes you need the tragedy to put you in the situation to work hard. And sometimes you make the tragedy for yourself. And that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, what I think makes people successful is a combination of hating the alternate life they could have.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
So like, I hate the idea of working a job. I hate the idea of not being successful. I hate all these things. And like, Taylor Jones was a perfect example of this. Young kid, loves traveling the world. And if you just kind of like looked at him starting out, you'd be like, I don't know if this guy's going to be successful or not, because he's just fucking going out buying everything. He's not like, but he was shooting from the hip and he just figured it the fuck out. He hated his job so much that he was like, I'm just going to go to Walmart and scan shit all day. And now kid's making, tons of profit. I won't even say, but he's fucking raking in the dough. And it's because he hated his job so much that he was able to see the opportunity and he was able to do whatever the fuck it took. And I think that that's like the main driver. You have to hate the alternate reality.
Yeah, I've heard so many people say my job makes good money to justify like, they never actually make good money, but like.
Does Garrett still work the job, by the way?
Who?
Garrett?
That's this. I will neither confirm nor deny.
Okay.
But yeah, that's actually one that I wasn't going to bring that up, but that like that specific point in terms like the hating the alternative, but that's really, really true, man. Yeah, that's really, really true. That's probably a better. It's
We're
like
gonna have Garrett hot seated by Amazon Lit again this year.
that was fire, man. 2 years ago. Yeah. Like you got it, like hating the alternative. And then like in terms of what actually like the biggest thing is just who they talk to that sells on Amazon, right? That's the biggest differentiating factor in terms of like,
yeah, I think if you get involved in the community, your chances of success are exponentially higher because everybody around you, it just becomes normal to make money.
Yep.
Like my friends are millionaires now. And so like my norm, I'm not a millionaire yet, but like I will be very soon. And it's because this is my reality. I'm surrounded by these people, you know?
Yeah. And then it's also tough for people to let go of like the dead weight friends and stuff as well. But that's all choice, man. It's all a choice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And did you ever go through that? Did you have to let go of some friends?
Not really. Cause like I finished college and like was just chilling in PA for 3 years. Like
Gotcha.
and my high school, a lot of my high school friends don't live nearby. And I actually really, really like my high school friends, like all of them still.
You keep up with them?
I really talk to them here and there every couple months. Like I'm rooting for him like crazy, but it's not really relatable in terms of like what we're doing day to day. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, no, everyone I talk to these days to make money online, people.
Yeah, I need to, when I connect with my friends back home, it's usually like over wrestling or like nature or like philosophy. But I can't like, I love hanging out with Taylor because like we wrestle, we travel, and we sell on Amazon. So it's like we can just bounce all these ideas off each other. Like common interests are huge in friendships.
Yeah, exactly. And like you find that when you show personality and other people show personality, you find those commonalities, right? But then it's like, okay, even if someone's exactly who you would want to be friends with, if you DM them and they click your profile and see nothing, you're at a massive disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's like, you probably would have said no to hanging out with me 4 years ago if I had nothing on my profile when I hit you up randomly. And you would already you probably recognize me a little bit then, but like it's a completely different story when you could see it's like, oh shit, this dude's got his face and name out there.
Yeah.
Who cares, right? And I like see that so much. There's this one kid, you should actually have him on. You don't even know him yet. You'll meet him. You should really have him on, just cold random. So there's this kid who we had him on Buy Box Bandits yesterday. He did 50K in sales his first 50 days from the ground up, from nothing. And he posted this video like September 25th, right? Which was like his first week, just introducing himself, saying, I hate my job. You could feel it in his bones. You could feel it in his bones, right? And then we start working together, right? Boom. Get him in a group chat. Bang. Sky's the limit, does 7K in sales like 2 weeks ago in his first 60 days in one day, right? You should actually have him on cold. I think it would be pretty funny. He'll definitely be on the so it's at 0 day handle time on Twitter.
Is it the number 0 or
the number 0, right? Well, just like FDM handling time right there. 0 day handle time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have him on and just see where it goes.
Oh yeah. What does the future look like for you? Like, where do you realistically like actually see yourself in like 10 years?
Oh yeah. I mean, very, very well off. I don't know, kids and shit, like, but definitely in some type of business definitely some type of business that I'm cool with running for 10 and 20 years. I really, really like Miami. I definitely want to have a big house in Pennsylvania too. But probably splitting time between those, predominantly probably still Miami if I had to guess. But yeah, just running it up, like same people I'm running up with today, just in a business that there's no platform risk with there in the way there is with Amazon. So something that's not platform dependent that I want to scale to the absolute moon. And if I do what I need to do today, all of that will be possible. So it'll be a beautiful thing. Yeah. Like shitload of passive income, like kids running it up, all my boys still.
Fuck yeah. Well, everyone knows where they can find you at Flips for Miles, all platforms. I'll link some videos below too on you storefront stocking so people can get started. I'll link your free course below. So YouTube link right here. And thanks so much for coming on, brother.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for listening. And always fun chopping up with you, Avery. MiamiSellersConference.com as well. I'll be there. Hope to see all you guys there.
Yeah.